everybody, this is the Sliders Review. I'm here today to talk about Black History Month. The month that is a celebration of my people, because I am a black man and everything. And it's about all our accomplishments, all the oppression that we have gone through over like centuries of living in like America and stuff like that. And even till this day, we are still being oppressed. And so I'm here today to talk to you about certain characters or TV shows or episodes that revolve around Black History Month that I personally enjoy. So I'm here today to talk to you about The Color of Friendship. This movie came out in the year 2000 on Disney Channel, and it's a Disney Channel original movie, and it's one of the most unique Disney Channel original movies there is because one, it's a true life story, which they have a few of those, but is rooted in racism. It really explores racism, and they even use the N-word in this movie, and it was uncensored like at least twice, and then they used the South African term for the N-word a couple of times too, and this was very unheard of and stuff. And this is actually my first time watching this movie. When it came out years ago, I remember I saw like clips of it and I'm just like, it's just a Disney Channel original movie. I don't care about that. And there's like a bunch of girls and stuff like that. You know, I was like, what, 17, 18 around that time. So I just really didn't care. It just seems like another Disney Channel type thing. And I just really didn't care. But there were a couple of Disney Channel original movies I watched that were based on true life stories. And those are the ones that are much better, in my opinion, and the ones I like. But I never knew anything about this. All I knew is that it was a black family, got this white African girl, and they was shocked and surprised. And I thought, oh, that's cool. It's flipping the script. But I just could care less. And then so many years later, I've always wondered about this movie. And then when I got Disney Plus, I never watched it years ago. And then so I'm like, okay, I have Disney Plus now. I guess I might as well watch it just to see what it's about. You know what I'm saying? Maybe it'll be cool and everything. And then so I watched a couple of minutes of it and I decided to research it. And I never knew this was based off a real life event. It is insane and stuff. Now, I knew it was always racism in South Africa, and I knew it was bad, but I never knew when it ended. And it literally ended in the 90s, and this family helped end it and stuff. This movie has a huge star-studded cast. It has that of Sadie Simmons, who plays Piper Dillon. I can't see my notes. Daloons or something like that. Lindsay Hahn as Maury Bach. Carl Lumpley as like the dad who plays Ron the Looms. Penny Johnson as Roscoe. And you know, I know who Penny is from like the Orville and Deep Space Nine. And Carl, my God, he's the voice of Martian Manhunter. But I haven't seen him young in a long time. He was also on Mantis. And this is based off of a short story written by Piper Dillon. And she's an author and she's also a civil rights advocate. Just like her father. Her father there was a congressman. And like he helped in like, you know, racial segregation in South Africa and everything. He was very prolific in that. Sadly, he passed away in 2018. He remained in office for many years and he's actually had 3 wives and like a total of 5 kids, but you only see 3 of the kids in this movie. I guess he must have gone with his other like his other wife and stuff. And I think they say one of his grandkids might be from South Africa and stuff. So not only did because he fought against racism over there, even though he was an American. And like, you know, and so has like, you know, his daughter. And they even lived over there for a couple of years and stuff. And when you hear about what happened to the real Marley Bach, who's technically is who was renamed for the movie, her real name was Carol and stuff. I think her name was Carol, or was her real name? Carrie, that's her name. So it's they renamed her Marley for the movie, but her name is Carrie in real life. And like, what happened to her in real life? Like, oh my God, dude, I can't believe it. And so this movie is set in like the 70s, right? And yes, I know it's not Black History Month, but you know, I just found out about this movie. I decided to use my template. And in my opinion, every day is Black History Month because I'm black, so get over it. So anyway, this movie is profound, and I suggest everybody should watch it. Like, it deals with not accepting people for how they look. It deals with racism. It deals with trying to teach people the truth about race and trying to re-educate them and everything from them being brainwashed. And the fact that Disney Channel was willing to go there back in the 2000s is very shocking and everything. And, you know, it's even to the point, like I said, where they use the N word on here because they really want to get the message across and stuff of how bad these words were. And this is something you'll never see on Disney Channel, like, again, because Disney Channel is very kid friendly now. But this is, like I said before, back in the Zoog Disney era, back when everything was different and better. But now everything about Disney is very slap happy and stuff. And Sadie, who plays Piper, she's gone on to do other Disney stuff. She replaced Raven Simone in like the Xenon movie. Lindsay, she's acted a lot since then too, but both women have pretty much, you know, like stepped away from like acting and stuff. And, you know, Piper, she's an amazing woman. Like, when you read about her in real life and stuff, she's helped build homes for, like, black people in Africa and stuff. She's an advocate. She's an author and everything. Like, she's a woman who believes in, like, you know, equality for all. Saying very similar to that of, like, her father and stuff. She has a brother named Eric, and he's now a voice actor slash actor. And apparently he didn't get the memo on the civil right, like, you know, advocacy and stuff like that. Because there are times where he has said things that made him sound like an idiot against his own race and stuff. And yeah. I was surprised he was in Avatar Last Airbender as that one spirit that still people's faces, Ko, I think it is. Now on Wikipedia it says her other brother was named Brandy. I can't find nothing on him, but however, she does have another brother named Michael, and apparently he must be from like a different family or something like that, a different mother. And from what I read on Wikipedia, well, he had some trouble with the law and is incarcerated right now. Her mother, Roscoe, was an attorney, and I cannot speak volumes of how good this movie is. Like, I'm very disappointed that I never watched it in the past, and it took me like nearly 22 years just to watch it now. Maybe 23, yeah, because it came out in 2000. It took me forever to watch this movie, and I wish it never did. Because, like, when I saw this, I just assumed, oh, okay, this is kind of neat. Like, you know, they expected to get a black African, but they got a white African. Disney flipped the script. That's neat, but I didn't feel like watching it. Because I assumed it would be just another silly, goofy, like, Disney Channel movie. Like, I haven't even seen the Xenon movies yet. And I just watched the Halloween Town movies just last year. So Disney Channel movies really aren't my thing. Unless they're based on true life stories and stuff, and like this one is. And I am still shocked and surprised to find out what really happened. And so, like, basically what it was is that Piper, she really wanted an exchange student, but from Africa. Her dad was a civil rights advocate and congressman, and she knew the importance of segregation and racism and stuff like that. And she really wanted to see the full, true-on black experience from a person from Africa. So after begging her parents, they finally let her do it. Across the ocean, Marley, who is technically Carrie in real life, she wanted to do the exchange program as well. Her family did not originally want her to do it. In the movies, her dad is a police officer, but in real life, he was a high-ranking judge. So when you find out what happens to the real Carrie, you would be very shocked and surprised. Now, this short story got turned into a movie. However, the character of Carly is actually based off of two, well, Marley is based off of two different girls. See, the DeLune family, they took in two different white African girls, exchange students, I can't talk. I keep saying the word too. Okay, on two separate occasions, they took in two foreign exchange students. One I know is white South African. The other one I'm not sure, but probably is too. So they decided to combine both instances into this one movie. So Marley is like a combination of both, like both those exchange students and stuff. And so, like, we see over in South Africa, the segregation, the racism. Basically, white Africans came from Britain. They colonized the south part of Africa. We want to blame people for racism, just blame the British and everything. They started all this crap. And they started that whole world domination thing with trying to implant their people in every type of country they could. Some successful, some not. The most successful, of course, is North America, Australia, New Zealand, and places like that. And but other places they still have them there, but they're in colonies and stuff. And like in India, oh boy, they had a run the mill with those British people and stuff. That's why there's so many what are they called? Crap, what are that race called? I can't think of it. It starts with a P. They live in Britain and stuff. And so like a lot of the white people that are in South Africa were extremely racist, and they've been racist there since around the 1940s to 1990s, the late 1990s. That's when it pretty much all stopped. And what it is that they lived in a partridge, I think they call it, like area town, where they pretty much separate the blacks from the whites, and the whites dominate that part of South Africa, and they treat the blacks like crap. The blacks are pretty much just servants and stuff when they do get a job. Maids, butlers, kitchen staff, stuff like that, and they treat them like crap. And even in the movies, when a black waiter spilt something on a white guy, he kicked that black guy. And like Marley family just looked at it and just didn't care because that's how they was raised. Marley is raised to believe that whites are superior to all and that everybody comes underneath them. However, she has a black maid, and she loves that black maid to death. Because you know how it is in a lot of these families and stuff. Back in those old days, those rich white people would have like these black maids or Hispanic maids, and they would have the kids be raised by like the servants and stuff, and the kids would end up loving the maids and the butlers a whole lot more than the parents because they saw them more as a parent figure and stuff. And so she has a little brother, and he found a flag, and this flag is really interesting. It's the ANC flag, and it stands for the African National Congress flag, I believe it's called. And it is forbidden to have that in South Africa. You can get in trouble. And so after doing this foreign exchange thing, they're all happy and they're all excited, the Looms family and stuff. And there's a Nigerian dude, and he's friends with Piper, and she's unaware. She thinks she thinks Nigerian people are like African or come from South Africa and stuff like that. And he tries to tell them the difference, but he don't know nothing about South Africa other than that it's very racist and stuff. And so they're all decked out in African like clothing in the house and the music. So they're really happy and excited to get this African or foreign exchange student. So Roscoe and Piper go to get her at the airport, but they can't find her. They assume this one black girl is her, but it turns out to be Marley, a white girl. And they're very shocked and they're not happy at all to have a white African in the house. And in a way, if you stop and think about it, that's showing prejudice towards Marley and stuff, because they was expecting not they wanted only a black one and not a white one, so they was not happy about that. But not Piper, but Roscoe knew her husband would not be happy about this because he's been fighting for years to end segregation over there in South Africa and stuff. So when they finally do realize, hey, this is her, they introduce themselves, but Marley thinks they're the hired staff. And so she's waiting to meet the congressman and everything, not knowing that they're related to him. So when they find out, when they go to the house and everything, she realizes that, oh, y'all are the people I'm staying with, and the congressman is black. She is not too happy and thrilled by that. In fact, she is scared beyond belief. So scared that she will not say nothing, and she locks herself in Piper's room for the entire day and won't come out until the morning. She is literally terrified of black people because over there they're taught to fear black people and stuff. That they believe all black people are angry and will kill them and stuff like that. Ooh, it was so bad back in those days. Now remember, this is set in the 70s and stuff. And this was around the time America themselves was slowly starting to accept black people and stuff, especially in the 80s. And so it's a weird timing and everything. And so the dad's not happy, the family's not happy, Piper's not happy. But after a while and getting hungry, Marley finally comes out. And then, her and Piper start to talk and they start to bond a little bit, which helps her integrate and stuff. Now, throughout this movie, you will see Marley, look down on black people and stuff, and get terrified by black people. But Roscoe and Piper are there to help her, ease her, nerves and this and that. In reality, Carrie, the real girl, one of this is based off of, she was a lot more prejudiced towards them and a lot more racist. She would not open the door handle without a towel being on there and stuff because she didn't want to touch it because a black person touched it. The utensils in the house she would boil in hot boiling water to kill all the black germs and everything. They didn't show that in the movie. They didn't want to go that racist and stuff, but that's what the real girl did in real life. And so they realized, look, man, she's not gonna fit in. They need to find her with a white family, something like that. But then something odd happened. Marley's all like, I want to stay, and I want to stay with you all and everything, because when she called her parents in the morning, they had a bet she would not survive in America for 1 week. They assumed she would be with a white family too. And they assumed, oh, she'll come kicking and screaming, wanting to come back home. And so that made her feel embarrassed. And then that family also said that she's not going to last here either. So she wanted to prove them wrong. And she wanted to be understand black people, I guess. Because the one thing about a lot of racist people that are white is that some of them, yes, are white on the outside, but in the inside, they're not. And some of them are very curious about other races. They just don't know how to act around them because of the way they've been taught. And so throughout the movie, we see Piper and we see Marley bond like sisters and everything. And this is when you get to the Disney part of the movie where it's like a montage of music and them changing clothes. This happened in real life, like them bonding to the point like sisters. In the movie, she doesn't stay there that long, but in reality, she stayed there for months. And so they went skating and clothes shopping. And, the real Piper literally said that, they are like sisters in real life and everything. And they was very devastated when both of them had to be apart. And, Marley had to go, or Carrie had to go back home. And so when they go to a school, Marley is very shocked that she's about to go to a black school, but it's not really a black school. It's just a school with tons of different races in it. And she keeps saying, oh, I'm going to a Bantu school. And so Piper doesn't understand what the word Bantu means. And so Piper is very confused. She's all like, does that mean the N word and everything? And this is when you hear it in the thing. And she's all like, oh no, and everything. Bantu just means black and everything, or a colored person. But then she used a C word that does mean the N word. And so it helped Piper understand that. When Piper was telling her parents that, her dad got furious and misunderstood. And he's all like, did she call you the C word? And he was so furious, he was about to kick down that door. But then Piper's like, no, 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 no. I just like misunderstood it and everything. She said she would never call me the C word and stuff like that. And, and I was very shocked to understand this, like, different translation of like racism and words that they use and stuff like that. And when Mari was explaining it, she was explaining so cavalier and everything. Now, when she went to the school, she was once again frightened because all the foreign exchange students had to be on like one side while the other kids go to their classes so they can get integrated and stuff. All the foreign exchange students were black, but I don't know where they was from because it's never said in the movie. So she had to stay in line with all these black people, and she was a little frightened because the only black people she knew were the family she was staying with. And this one black kid who's a football player was being rude to her. They bumped into each other, and like he was being mean to her, but Piper stood up for her and stuff. But we don't really get to see too much school interaction, so that's really nothing. But when we do go to a restaurant, another black waiter spilled something on a white guy, and Marley was really scared. She was afraid that he was gonna kick that black guy, but he didn't. He was very polite to him. And this really helped her in the movie to like understand that, wow, in America, they're not as racist as they are there. Well, something terrible happened in South Africa. In real life, a man by the name of Stephen Vinko, his last name starts with a B, but they say it Vink, so I'm just gonna say Vinko. He was a black South African advocate, and he was arrested for protesting and stuff. And he was beat literally to death by the white like police officers and stuff, both in the movie and like in real life. And he was in prison. In prison, he died. Now, in Africa, they tried to say that he took his own life, that he starved himself. And nobody around the world wanted to believe that. He died from the injuries from being beat by the police. This caused outrage in America, especially with the black congresspeople and politicians, and also that of Piper's dad. And so, like, this will cause him to fight harder and stuff, like, to end the segregation over there. And so, like, because of that, the embassy in America with the South African people, they did not want Marley at that house. They even called to confirm that she was there once they found out what family she was with, but they did not contact her family. And so they end up going to the house and taking her, basically kidnapping her and stuff. It took a long while, but, Piper's dad was able to get her out. And, the real life Piper said that, they had to make this movie a little kid friendly for like the Disney Channel viewing audience. But pretty much everything happened just like it did in real life. So how much of this is real is probably only like slightly fictional and stuff, because she said it's pretty much on beat with her real life. And so Marley and Piper get into a huge argument over Vinko and everything, because Piper tells her he was not a criminal, he wasn't a radical, he was a protester, and he was beat to death by the police. And Marley's like, no, because my father's a police officer and he wouldn't like kill him. He's all like, Vinko is something you would call a thug in like America. He was a criminal. And Piper, tells her, that is not true. It's your government trying to cover it up. And before they had this argument, the Nigerian dude literally told Piper that, she might be friendly now, but the moment she goes back home, she's just going to turn back to her racist little self and everything. Because she's all like, has she once ever asked you to visit her home country and meet her family? And Piper's like, well, no. And so when she asked her in this argument, can I come and visit your family? And Marley kind of like paused with her head turned to Piper and all like, sure, and everything, knowing her family would never accept Piper and her family and stuff. So after the argument, they didn't talk, but, the father, he helped bring both those girls back together and explain to Marley what really happened to Vinko in prison. This opened up her eyes big time. And she realized that literally everything that she was taught was a lie when it comes to other races, especially that of blacks. And so after that, she had to eventually have to go back home. Now the movie ends it with her being excited, seeing Flora, her housemaid, and showing Flora something she sewed up in her jacket, and that was the ANC flag, something that is forbidden in South Africa. And so letting the audience know that, hey, I'm on your side and this and that, because her brother had found like a bird. I forget what kind of bird it is. And Flora told her, oh, these birds are supposed to be free and not in cages and stuff. So then we see Marley in a very Disney Channel fashion, let the bird go free and everything. Symbolizing that in the flag, knowing that, she's not the same person she used to be. Now, in actuality, there is a reason why I haven't shown what the real Carrie looks like. There is no picture of her. And I don't know what the other foreign exchange girl looks like, because they won't even mention her by name when you read articles about her. But apparently this is what happened in actuality. When she returned home, she was so re-educated with accepting black people that she literally became a protester herself at a very young age of 16. And she even formed the anti-apartheid student underground movement. Apparently, people found out because, she was all open and about it. They found that out and they put her in prison at 16 years old. She will write letters to Piper and their family and, help begging for their help to get her out. Because her dad was a congressman, he couldn't just go to South Africa and demand to get her out. They had to go through the proper channels, through both their governments. And they worked really hard to get her out. After a while, the letters stopped coming to the Dillon family house. And they never heard from Carrie ever again. And so Piper, she has no idea what happened to Carrie, but she assumes that because of the protests and because of, people not accepting that in South Africa, that Carrie was murdered and everything. But there's no evidence to prove that. And the fact that her dad is a high-ranking judge, that is very shocking. So my theory on this is that one of three things happened. Either she was murdered for her protesting, or she was released and they pretty much made it to where she would never protest again, and they probably changed her identity and everything so that it wouldn't bring shame on the judge and everything and her entire family. So, or she escaped with other prisoners and had to take up a new life. So one of those three things happened. Either she was murdered, she was released and took a plea deal to never protest again, or she escaped and changed her identity. But the fact that, and Disney knew this and they didn't want to show that part, because once again, nobody knows what really happened. But they could at least show the truth about her being arrested. Now, segregation was ended in the 90s over there in South Africa, and it was with the help of, Piper's father and stuff. And it's really shocking to know what happened to Kari and stuff. Even still to this day, nobody knows what really happened to her. And nobody knows who's the other foreign exchange student girl is, because they won't mention her by name and stuff. This is insane, just to know how far prejudice and racism went in that country and stuff. To the point where they will arrest a teenager and possibly kill her and stuff. I mean, they killed that black dude in prison and tried to say, oh, he starved himself. Like, yeah, whatever, man. And this is why racism has to end all around the world. It is terrible. It is a deep-rooted hatred that is uncalled for. Happy Black History Month, everybody. I'll talk to you later. Bye.